a lot of my business now comes straight from referral because of the service that I've offered for over years, because of the product. You know, we're not cutting corners. Yeah. You know what I mean? This whole bleach and bromate stuff like that. I know the question's coming. Trust me, I know what's coming.
Yeah.
I know what's coming.
Welcome to Staying Hungry. Today's guest is Augie from Cardinali Bakery. Augie, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
John connected us. So Cardinali Bakery, located in Call Place, right? How long you guys been in business?
Cardinali Bakery has been in business since 1976. My family has owned it since 1994.
Okay.
My father, when he first came to America from Italy, worked for the original owners. Then once my brother got old enough, he went to go work with my father. And then, when the opportunity came, because I'm much younger than my brother, for him to purchase it, that's what he decided to do. And then once I was old enough, I thought the cool thing to do was I want to go work with my brother. I made that mistake. And I never left.
So this year, the bakery's 50 years old.
This year, the bakery is, the bakery itself, yeah.
Wow.
This year, the bakery itself is 50 years old this November.
Pretty good.
Yeah, right. This year, the bakery will be 50 years old. This July will be 32 years that we own it.
Wow.
The only reason I know, that July always sticks out is because the coolest guy I know, my nephew, he was born in July.
Awesome.
So, his birthday sticks out.
Nice.
So has the bakery changed since the owners, how much have you guys grown, different facets of it?
Well, I mean, we have elevated it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? A bakery is essentially, a brick and mortar store where you're going to be able to get, flour and water products. What we've done is being able to elevate it on a consistent basis to be able to suffice wholesale, restaurants, catering halls, delis, pizzerias, hospitals, schools. We also do, commissaries, and by commissaries meaning that, the places that are in like governmental buildings and the schools and stuff like that where they
Serving
buy
large
and they
amounts of
serve.
people.
Exactly, where they have the inn to be able to service it. But essentially we're partners with them because it's like, they stand by our product and we partner with them so they're able to sell it in there because, sometimes with dealing stuff like that, you have to have certain variances or what they call permissions, to be able to do it.
Got it. So your dad came here. He's working for the prior owners. How long was he was working there from inception? In the 70s?
He was working there from the minute he got to America. Okay. It was, because when he first got here, he was in Westbury because my uncle was there. So, it's really didn't speak any English. So it's, you kind of migrate to where other people are speaking Italian. There was an Italian bakery with Italian workers there. Right. So kind of like just
commonality.
Exactly. Because that's what he did in Italy as well. His family his family has something which is called a bottega, which is almost our corner store. It's like a little supermarket per se.
Not a
little bit of everything.
But a bottega.
Right, bottega, not bodega. Bottega.
Got it. The Italian version.
The Italian version. The better version.
Got it. So your brother starts to work there.
Yeah.
When?
Jeez.
Early 90s or longer?
I want to say maybe. Well,
he was able to walk.
So probably early 80s.
Wow.
Mid 80s.
Okay.
Yeah, he started to work there. And then it all happened so fast. It's my brother's got a work ethic and a business mindset where it's almost very contagious. You know what I mean? And anybody who's anybody, his original boss, his ex-partner, being his little brother, it's like I said, it's contagious. It's just, it happened, and he was able to just quickly just move up that ladder. By the time he was like 27, 28, he owned it. Not Cardinali, but his original, it's called Gennari's.
Okay.
And where was that?
That was in Westbury as well.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So did you guys move the shop to what today's location is?
Well, no,
when he bought it?
no. What we did
Give
was
us some of the timeline.
so in where the shop is now, the retail store where most people are familiar with, we've just over the years from payment, original purchase till about 4 years ago, what we were able to do is just enlarge it, build, because once real estate gets available, you know what I mean. You buy that real estate because when you're making food, especially, you need everything under your hat. You know what I mean? Sure. It's not like we're assembling a home where we could take, one part of a supply, bring it to another place, put it all together, and then bring it to we need everything in-house. So we needed the real estate. And then, that's how it happened. And then, COVID happened, and COVID killed a lot of people. In more ways than one, unfortunately. But really didn't stop us. Unfortunately, it sidelined my brother for a couple months. He was first hospital bound. Then, so it's kind of like my turn to be like, all right, man, somebody's got to pull up their pants and
step in.
Exactly. So I did. About 18, 20 hours a day, just working around the clock, just waking up, open up the retail store. We went from having 40, 45 guys to half that. So I was just making bread. Anybody would call me, hey, I'm saying yes to everything. And we were able to just roll with that.
Yeah.
And then, as we were able to suffice, really get the name out there that, hey, we already had a name in the market of wholesaling. You know what I mean? We're all restaurants already knew it. But, once you add a great product and you put even better service, especially when our service has no limitations, there's a lot of places be like, okay, like the cutoff time is this time, or you can't do this, you can't do that. Like there's no for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We have, especially now, we have the establishment, you know what I mean? We have the know-how, we're able to do it. We have the ability, we have the versatility. So, but yeah, anyway, so during COVID, I just, worked like an animal. I truly did. I was just times just sleeping there, just literally just taking 2 bags of flour, just sleeping there just so I could wake up. And even though I lived 3 blocks away, it didn't mean anything. Because to me, I'm logistically thinking, all right, that 30 minutes that I'm going to spend at home, I could just, even if I'm there, it's one of those, if the cat's away, the mice will play. But if I'm just sitting there, at least I know they're going to work.
Right.
You know what I mean? And get stuff done because, in our business, in the bakery business, it's you have to make it then and there. It's not like, we have a stock in the refrigerator of a bunch of fruit or a bunch of meat. You know what I mean? It's if you don't handle this product perfectly, you lose it. Fermentation is the most craziest thing in the world because it's like cooking a piece of fish. 1 extra second on the grill, you lose it.
Right.
You know, so
do you run like 24-hour shifts
we do.
at the bakery?
Yeah, we're 24 hours. We're around the clock. There's always a shift working at the bakery, and a lot of that has to do with because of fermentation. Because there's specific breads that we make because we have different lines, and then it has to hold for a certain amount of time before we actually can bake it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do some of the clients have, one-off type products like a specific roll for?
Well, I mean, actually a couple people who've been here.
Yeah.
We can start off with,
like
John from Burgerology, his brioche roll.
Okay.
So that's a brioche roll I make especially for him, fresh egg, fresh milk, fresh butter. I make a true brioche, no powders, no what they're called in the business, conditioners, nothing like that. True dairy, It's funny, the more I say true dairy, in the past week I've had, my employees, I've had a phone call literally about 2.5 hours ago from Ryan from Chubb's.
Okay.
People want to know, is there soy in the bread? No, there's not, because I don't use an alternative. I use the real thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't have to use an alternative because that's not my avenue. My avenue is a real artisanal bakery. I use the real stuff to make good stuff. So it's, and for him, I make something called a ladrillo, which is an oversized semolina hero, which I don't know if you see.
This is for
Chuck's,
Ryan. Yeah, yeah.
Like his heroes are retarded.
Yeah.
Like ridiculous. I don't know if you've ever seen him. Dude, he'll feed you. He'll feed. But I mean, he puts premier stuff and the same. And even if John at Burgerology, I always mess this up. I don't know if it's the E equals MC squared burger or the Einstein burger. I know he's watching this probably laughing because I order it every time. Yeah. But it's got the short rib on it. But it's like, he loves it because we've had this conversation that he was able to elevate all his products because I wasn't giving him that commercialized bun that when you put sauces on, it winds up, being eaten away. Dairy is a protein. So when you add protein to flour and you let, that fermentation or glycogen happen, you get true strength. So you can load it up with all the sauces you want. Not only is it going to be aesthetically pleasing, but it's like, you pick up a juicy burger and all that stuff together. It's almost,
doesn't disintegrate.
It doesn't. You're able to enjoy it. And
not
sometimes,
a powder.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes people take it for granted. But like, that's the outside looking in. This is my livelihood. This is what sucks to say. I know. I think I could say it on this, but this is what really gives me a hard on. You know what I'm saying? It's like this is the fruit. This is what I work for.
Yeah.
This is what I do.
And your clients, I think, appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And
immensely. I have a lot of my business now comes straight from referral because of the service that I've offered for over years, because of the product. We're not cutting corners. Yeah. You know what I mean? This whole bleach and bromate stuff like that. I know the question's coming. Trust me, I know what's coming.
Yeah.
I know what's coming. And this is what, and 100%. And this is what I tell people. There's no bag flour in my establishment. I'm not a small scale guy. I get anywhere from 60 to 90,000 pounds of flour delivered a week in silos, in those trucks that usually deliver cement, that have the 3 nipples on the bottom. Yeah. That's how my flour comes. So when I have to get that flour, I have to prepay for it, then they mill it, then they bring it to me. So it's not sitting in a warehouse under different conditions that's been trucked from California to Long Island or New York or Queens or Brooklyn that's sitting, that has to have that stuff in it. There's always going to be that conditioner in it that holds it because you can't lose the flour. Because flour is going to activate with air alone because there's moisture in there. So if you don't have a bromate in there or a bleach in it to control or any of those conditioners, it's going to activate. It's going to start. I don't have that problem because there's not being in a bag. It's not sitting. It doesn't have a shelf life. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Because don't forget, I don't know if you guys know this, but the flour that you buy in a supermarket, even if it is this imported flour, whatever it is, has to pass a test to have a shelf life of at least a year before it even goes on the shelf.
Interesting.
I don't have, you know what I mean? So it's like, I can't get
the volume alone is what's
the volume alone keeps me out of that category.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And people could say whatever they want, and there are plenty of people who say what they want. And if I sat there and really started talking to everybody, this, that, and the other thing, it's like, listen, not only could I, do I look like I'm going to kick your ass? But I know.
I don't want to ask the wrong questions.
No, but not even that. I know that I have the intelligence. Exactly. Because this is what I do. If I don't know,
probably 9/10 of the people that are talking about it know absolutely nothing.
There's no shot because I'm not making one dough. I'm not making 2 doughs. I'm making 45 to 50 doughs a day.
Yeah.
I'm using multiple different types of flours. I'm even mixing flours. If I don't know properties, you know what I mean? It is exactly. It is a science, and it all changes. And I even had this conversation last night with people who are cleaning water, and the guy asked me, and this is funny, and sometimes you don't know the answer to something till the question is asked you. You know what I'm saying? You don't just know. So the guy asked me, he goes, how come when they ship water out of state, it's still not good? I said, because the conditions are still different. Water's going to act differently. I mean, the air in West Virginia is not the air in New York.
Yeah,
so even if you take New York water and you put it in Arizona, West Virginia, or Florida, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything.
The element will change.
Exactly. The element's going to change automatically.
Time of year.
Right. The barometric pressure in the air alone.
I was just
going to kill those minerals.
I was in Las Vegas last week. It was 110 degrees.
Yeah, but I mean,
dry heat.
Dude, I'll take 110 in Vegas. I'll take 110 in Vegas before I take 92 in Long Island.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, the humid sucks.
But all that has a
it is. It's
piece in how that bread
there's all
rises
different variables.
And,
absolutely. Water is key.
Yeah.
Water is key to everything. You know, flour is going to be everywhere. They could ship it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's not going to do anything because flour is not going to activate without water. You know?
So Augie, do clients or prospective clients come to you looking for something, or are you possibly going to them and saying I could bring this product to you?
There's so many different avenues.
A little bit in between.
It's all of that. It's not just a one-trick pony anymore. You know what I mean? Because everybody wants to elevate what their product is. Nobody just wants to give a flat product. So that's where I have to come in, and because bread has to complement the dish. It can't just be sidelined anymore.
I don't even think it's a compliment still. I feel like most dishes lead with the bread.
Right. Well, listen.
Like, not to say like, hey, I could use Boar's Head products on any sandwich, but the difference of how that sandwich tastes is the bread.
100%. You know what? It's back in the day, especially pre-COVID, you know, the bread basket was the most important thing in the world because it set the precedence of the meal, you know? If that bread basket bread tasted awesome, that means that restaurant really cared about everything else that was coming after. You know, and if they weren't giving you oil, then that means that chef knew his bread was good, because butter is a condiment. You know what I'm saying? It's its own flavor. You're not tasting anything when you put that. But if you like, I brought something today. You know, we call it a Napoli bread because we made it forever. But what everybody knows it as is a sourdough bread. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Which the most important ingredient on that is thyme, and that has its own flavor. You don't need, you know, listen, you want to put olive oil on it? Yeah, sure. You know what I'm saying?
Are all three the same, Augie?
Well, there is, no, this is olive. You know, I bought the meat bread because I could not bring you guys meat bread. And then I put just the regular bastone.
You mind if I try?
No, go for it. Break bread, just like God, man. It's like Jesus. Crack it open.
Rob, you want a piece?
Yeah. Here we go. Get in there. My man is salivating. And you know, and what I love the most about this bread.
I'm an olive person, but
I'll
see the other one. No. There's another one in there. Eat the bread. Yeah. Eat the bread. It's a sin if you don't eat the bread.
It's a sin. You don't have to.
So what I want you to really do before is I want you to touch the inside of that bread. See how it's still wet? See how it's still wet? That's a true sourdough.
Thank you, bro.
You know what I mean? That's holding.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know?
Well, like the moisture inside.
Exactly. That holds water because it is a highly hydrated bread. You know, we're working on something called a 70-75% hydration. You know, and that's post biga, or post mother dough, or post starter, or post sour. So basically, what that means is that 75% of the hydration in the flour, or to every 10 pounds, 7.5 pounds, is equated with both water and then the water that's from the sourdough starter, that's 100 to 100. So it is a chemical breakdown. But by doing that and really finding the sweet spot is what's giving you a wet bread 8 hours later, 10 hours later. You know, you're literally having a cooked piece of bread that was cooked in a 400-degree oven, and the inside is still wet, still methylating, still breaking down, which is why it's the healthier alternative, where your body's able to digest it because it's not dry. It's alive still, per se. You know what I'm saying? That's why this bread in 3 days, you leave it open, it's going to mold. Mm-hmm. You know, McDonald's bread 3 years later looks exactly the same. You know what I'm saying?
I found the French fry in my back seat from McDonald's for my kids.
Exactly.
It was exactly the same. Yeah.
It's fine.
Wow.
So
that's the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the difference will always be true ingredients. And you know what I see now, especially and the world is slowly opening up, ignorance is slowly being pushed out of the way, a couple other words we could use, but I don't want to get you guys canceled. But, a couple of things where the family time is coming back. And I see that in the retail store. And it's great to see, because it's bringing back, let's break bread together. You know what I'm saying? It's funny, on the way here, I wanted to bring you guys bigger breads, but I kind of, didn't think we had the room, but it's like, I'm kind of glad I didn't, because it was on a Tuesday, I was sold out. That's the honest truth. And I didn't have enough time to go to my warehouse and grab more.
So the warehouse is separate from where the retail.
So now, because, back to before, post-COVID, we really just, and then once the world started opening up, anybody who was anybody was like calling me, hey, do you, yes, I do. And I was just going everywhere, and I went from a very generous amount of wholesaling that I had, Long Island, to now Montauk to Manhattan, everywhere, Brooklyn.
Is that what it is today?
That's exactly what it is today. Montauk to Manhattan. I'm in Brooklyn. How
do you manage that logistically, especially this time of the year? The East End is just...
it's... Well, as you see, I got to say, it's because bake times, I'm in a much larger establishment. Now we're in a 30,000 square foot establishment, which all we do is bake bread for our wholesale division. And, those bake times is what allow us to allocate, the time to be baked so it could be delivered where we can leave at 1 o'clock in the morning. Uh-huh. You know what I mean? Because if you leave at 1 o'clock in the morning and you got to go east, everybody's coming west.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you're following that traffic.
Yeah. So you're out of the East End before 4 o'clock in the morning.
You have to be. You have to be, or else it's just...
Do you control the delivery, or is that like outsourced through
it's a little bit of both. So it all depends. The way my business works is I either have house accounts, a lot of the times, which are like catering halls and stuff like that, just the much bigger ones, only because you can't really put all that on an independent driver to be able to hold that note. You know what I'm saying? These guys are taking all this bread. So we have that. There are certain accounts that are house accounts. Burgerology, prime example. You know what I mean? Because they're so large and they do such high numbers that it's, plus, John's my boy. So if there's anybody who's going to handle his, it's going to be me personally. I'm in a group chats with his managers and stuff like that. Same thing with a lot of accounts. But and then there's independent drivers who they go out and they become my partner, per se. You know what I mean? And they go out and they buy and they sell. So
they own a bread route.
Exactly. It's where they buy and they sell. So it's...
Do they do that exclusively for you, or they are like, depending upon the location?
So it always all starts the same. You know what I mean? You use the name to get you in the door. And then you try to go to the cheap guy to make more money. It always gets back. It always gets back to me. You know what I mean? That's where I have to step in, or my brother has to step in. Say, what the hell are you doing? Because you're ruining my name by trying to make yourself an extra dollar. I get it. You want to cut a corner, so you can't. So then we have to step in. And in that sense, it's, if we'll take the customer, we'll give it to another driver. Or, you just got to sit down. It's like, all right, you got to come to, sit in my office. I got to talk to you like you're in the principal's office. Like, what are you doing, bro? You know what I'm saying?
Because the other thing is that, your bread doesn't have a label on it when it's out there. So
it doesn't have a label on it, but it has a reputation.
Yeah. But I'm saying in regards to people that try to cut corners and maybe introduce a different product along with yours, they don't know the difference. And now they're seeing those two. I have... I don't mind saying it. Imitation is the greatest form of flattery, right? We could all agree with that. Yep.
I make a bread solely for, not solely, but I make it for Prime and Tellers.
Yep.
I make it for them. There are other bakeries who have tried to duplicate that.
Knock it off.
You know what I mean? And they can't do that. They just can't. You're not me. Yeah. You can't duplicate what I do. You know what I mean? So we'll get the phone call. Hey, I thought I was buying your bread, but I'm not. Okay, well, you're not. Do you want to start? Yes, please, because, my customers think they're getting this from over here. I don't like to say people's names who have tried to. So, that's when I'll go in and, and I've done it. And other companies, I don't want to put them out, whatever, and say it, but, you know, who are now getting that bread, you know? And because, you know, it is what it is. At the end of the day, you can't yield the same product by cutting corners. It's just not going to happen, you know?
One thing I always think of, because going into places early, you always see the bread outside, right? Like in a box or in a bag. Like, is there ever theft with any of that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it happens all the time. It happens all the time. You know, I've heard stories like, you know, from my brother especially, because like, you know, he would tell me like there were times where he'd be like delivering bread in the middle of the night and he knew guys were gonna take it, so he would just bring an extra bag. It's like, bro, like leave this, take this. Right. You know what I mean? Right. You just do that. But nowadays, a lot of the customers, all of the customers, maybe 95%, excuse me, you know, they'll give us the key. You know, we'll just open it up, put it in the vestibule and go. Yeah. Like, what are we going to do? You know what I mean? Like, we want your business for the next years. We're looking for loyalty and longevity. We're not going to go inside and take your napkins.
Yeah, but just the logistics sometimes. I mean, we see it even from our business of delivering sometimes the payroll packages of like, who's there early, who's there late, who's not there, where do you leave it? Like, can you get access into the building? Security codes. Yeah. Like, all those things, like, come into play. Absolutely. You know, but I always see, like, I don't know, it's like someone that was, like, homeless living near a restaurant. I'd be like, go grab a loaf of bread. There's your meal.
Dude, I can tell you stories of alarms that I set off, you know what I mean? Because, you know, you want to sometimes look at your phone like,
it's the middle of the night.
What was the code?
It happens because it happens with us. The driver's out sick and you have a different guy. You have a different guy doing that route. Now he doesn't know, like you said, all the ins and outs, and he leaves it at the wrong door, at the wrong place across the street.
This phone never stops. Yeah. This phone hasn't stopped, you know? So it's
even rodents, right? You know, it's
well, that's the
you
number
can't control
one
that.
Thing. You can't control that. You can't control. Listen, you can't control Mother Nature.
Right.
It is what it is.
Somebody's cat that lives 3 houses down.
Exactly.
You know,
that's why for us especially, you know, we use that to really want to bring it inside, and we do. You know, those days of leaving it outside are done. Even in, like, I know sometimes, like, if my drivers, like, ever go on vacation, I got to handle some city routes, like, as annoying as it is, you know, like, we have a lot of pizzerias in Manhattan. You know, you wind up, you know, having to walk down, open up the garage door, and it's like, and, you know, you talk about logistics. If every stop is 10 minutes and 20 stops, you know what I mean? Even if you go to the city at 5, by the time it's 7:15, 7:30, dude, you're not getting home till 11 o'clock. It's just, it's inevitable.
Parking ticket. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, no, yeah. I double. Yeah. No, I keep a bag of bread in the front. If I see a cop with a thing, like, bro, come on. I'm just, you know.
It's a prosciutto bread.
It's like, bro, what am I doing here? You know what I mean? I'm the bread guy.
He's good.
I'm the bread guy. I work on pennies over here. What are we doing?
You'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah, they wait. Remember me?
Oh, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. So the retail part of the business, how many breads are offered on a daily basis?
So, as far as the retail is concerned, we probably offer a good 40 to 50
every day.
40 to 45 different selections in the retail store with the ability to order anything and everything you want. You know, a prime example, like, you know, I offer a rye bread. You know what I mean? But if somebody wants a rye dinner roll or a rye hero, they just got to tell me. Give me a day in advance. We have the rye bread. We have pumpernickel. Somebody wants a marble rye or a French onion rye, because we make that. You know, I have hotels. You know, I have the catering halls. I have the luncheonettes, places like that who want that bread, who already use that bread. So it's already something that's in my arsenal. So if they want it, yeah, absolutely, I'll do it. And, you know, I'm very present with my customers, you know, and everybody knows that. And, you know, we speak to our customers. I really try to have a modernized but still traditional style of having the bakery, where it's just not being afraid to say, hi, how are you? You know, how you doing? You know, it's because if you rely on today's teenagers, unfortunately, everything is just
a little texture.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you know. Trust me, if the girls who work for me can help customers by texting, it'd be, you know.
Could have 3 bakeries.
You ain't kidding, bro.
Put a kiosk
you ain't kidding. There. But you know, there is a sense of traditionalism that I believe really is coming back. I mean, it's not like I'm like super old, but I've been doing this since I was 12 years old. You know, it's almost like it forced me to mature. You know, I consider myself a mature. Like, I'll laugh and have a good time, but if I got to chameleonize myself, you know what I mean? You know, you do what you got to do. You know, I've sat in front of restaurant owners who have 7, 8 different restaurants, who now we have. You know what I mean? Sat in front of hotel owners who, you know what I mean, everything is very by the book and this, that, and the other thing. And you know, by the time you're done with business, you're able to sit there and break bread and have a coffee and smile. But, you know, you literally have to sell yourself first. It's no more, they want to know who they're getting their product from. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it's essentially, I'm an extension of them. You know, because everybody now has pride in what they do because business is just too expensive. I mean, you guys know how it is. No matter what it is that you do, everything is just too expensive to let anything fall within the cracks. Because food waste is money waste. Sure. And nobody goes in business to try to throw money in the garbage. You know what I mean? That $5 is, you know, my dad always said, is if you save $5, you made 10. Because the $5 you saved and the $5 you didn't have to waste is $10 you got. And, you know, it took me forever to realize it. And I still don't get that 100%, but it kind of makes sense because it's like, as I save money, I see my account going up. So I'm like, whatever, you know, but...
It doesn't make sense on the math side, but it makes sense the principle behind it. Don't be wasteful.
And you know what? With principle alone, you'll be successful. Yeah. You know what I mean? Common Based on doing the right thing, you'll be successful. Because, you know what? That is another thing that's visible. People are going to see that, you know, and it's a great thing that people, oh, you know, hey, is this Augie from Cardinali? Yeah, I got your number from this chef. He said you are the man. You're so good. Like, I really want to meet you. I want to do business with you. Absolutely. You know, let me give me when and where.
It's the easiest referral.
It is, absolutely. You know,
they sold it for you.
100%. But it's nothing that I haven't worked my ass off my whole life. It's not something that just comes easy. It doesn't. You could be a nice guy with a shitty product and a great product to be a jackass. If you're not able to marry everything together, you know what I mean? It doesn't work.
Yeah, we say all the time, I think you mentioned COVID earlier, of where we feel that like what COVID put all of us through, it made like those stars shine of the companies and the business owners that went above and beyond. Mm-hmm. They didn't charge more. They didn't try to nickel and dime you. They just said, I'm just going to continue to what I do, but do it a little harder for you. Like we saw it even in new business coming back to us, was like, we did the right thing in the marketplace. Those that did the same, like, flourished after COVID, where the guys that didn't, I don't even think they're in business anymore. Mm-mm. Right? They took advantage.
All those guys who tried to get one over on people and screw people out of this, that, and the other thing. You know, listen, with the bread that you guys are eating now, that Napoli bread, you know, I go, sometimes, you know, you just, it's part of the trade. You go to bakeries, you know, you're walking around. I'll be in Manhattan sometimes. I'll even be in the Hamptons. And I'll see those farm stand bakeries or those are whatever. They'll sell a bread like that for like $20, like $15. I sell it for $5. Wow. Yeah, right? Yeah. Like, yeah. The supermarkets don't even sell for $5, and they couldn't even touch my bread. You know, they're a third of the quality. And I say that confidently, you know?
Why is that? Because of your volume?
Because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. But you...
This is bread.
Yeah.
This is the first thing on your table. This is all about doing the right thing. This isn't about taking advantage of somebody because you can make something that's marketable. You know what I mean? Just because you could use social media to say, oh, I'm using sourdough and this thing. So what?
Yeah, but you said it earlier, is that the quality of the ingredients is only what is accessible to them, exactly. Where you have a direct line.
Right. Yeah, so that's another thing. I don't use a middle guy. There is no warehouse.
Yeah, if I was just
there was direct to distributor.
living in my house and go, I want to start making sourdough bread, where am I going to go? Yeah. You can only go so many places. For
right, but as far as quality, but now that's on my end.
Yeah.
If I wanted to step out, you know, and because of the quality I'm making, I could take my bread to a farm stand, and I know I'm going to kick ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm not going to sell for $25. You can't do that. How do you do that to people? You know, it's funny. I say it all the time to, you know, you have all these people who in the store, like I say, I truly enjoy speaking to people because it's nice to get that feedback because you know when somebody's organic and natural. You know, and they'll tell you stuff like, "Oh, I'm coming from Queens and this." I'm like, "All right, yeah. How do you only sell it for $5? I get this bread for $12. All right." I said, "Oh, Manhattan flavored, Long Island pricing." What do we tell you? I don't know. You know, same thing as far as the pastries. You know what I mean? Our cannolis. I know our cannolis are great. The rainbow cookies. You know, I use true almond paste. You know, no sugar. Everybody's like, "Oh, I don't like." I say, I don't really like cannolis. I said, "No, you've never tried my cannoli. You've tried what you think is a cannoli. You know, you've tried people who don't allow fresh cheeses to come together to make what a ricotta cannoli cream should be. You're used to having heavy cream, and yeah, that's too sweet. I mean, who wants to eat something fattening and sweet when you're supposed to have something decadent and light? That's what a pastry is supposed to be. You know, if you when they sell, I hate when they sell pastries by the pound, because when they sell pastries by the pound, it means it's heavy, and when it's heavy, not only is it heavy in the box, it's going to be heavy on your stomach.
Right.
Right. But if you have a light pastry, that's a pastry.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? Bread. This bread is light.
Yeah.
Because the flavor is supposed to be light. So
what portion of, like, I know we concentrating a lot on the bread side of the business. You mentioned some of the pastries. How's that in comparison to the bread? Is it also sold to wholesale?
It's we don't wholesale a lot as far as the pastry is concerned, for the mere reason that I don't have 2 recipes. I don't have 3 recipes. I have 1 recipe. So the recipe that comes out of the retail store is the same recipe I would use to wholesale. A lot of times, a lot of customers, catering, wholesale, stuff like that, they don't want to use that because it's not effective for them to make money. You know what I mean? It's not right. They're not going to be able to do it as far as...
most of those pastries need to be somewhat refrigerated.
Well, all of them need to be refrigerated.
Yeah, so that's,
all of them, but that is up to do with it. Listen, catering halls have refrigerators that are the size of a 3-car garage.
Yeah.
And they got multiple of those. So as far as refrigeration, you know, listen.
I'm saying like deliverability type of thing.
The kitchen, you know what I mean? Before they put the stove in, they measure out for the walk-in. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. Because you know what? 6 burners is 6 burners. But stock and inventory is priceless. You know, being able to hold all that, it is what it is. So as far as the refrigeration, it's, you know, that's gold right there.
Yeah.
So all these places, they have the refrigeration, but they don't want to lose money on something like pastries and something like cakes. You know what I mean? And if they, you know, unless it's a couple of the restaurants that we do that just buy cakes from us, but then they're selling it for $10, $12, and people are buying it. But it's also because it's a higher end restaurant, so it all has to meet, you know, the precedents they've set. So, but I mean, you know, as far as the cakes and pastries, listen, yeah, it's fun. I've been doing it forever. I learned how to make cakes because I had to fix cakes, because it's, you know, on Sundays, you know, maybe there, it's, you know, my dad and my brother, everybody was off, you know. Here you are, a 14-year-old kid. A customer comes in because they put their finger in a cake. What do I got to do? I had to figure out how to fix it. You know, after a while, all right, I got good at it. You know, now it's funny. It's you know, I write on cakes. I can't write. I write on paper. You would think I'm writing with my feet during an earthquake. You give me a cake, I'll write you a novel. You know what I mean? Calligraphy, not even script. Wow. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'll give it to my customers. Look at like, I'm bad for a gorilla, right? So it's yeah. You know, I have customer. I could tell you the stories of customers who've called me, catering halls, who's, oh man, Vic, I know you're watching, who's done this to me a lot of times. At Chateaubriand, the wedding cakes, a tear came off, or who did this, that, and the other thing. You know, he'll call me at 9, 10 o'clock at night, you know, and I'll go to the bakery, get my suitcase, you know, my emergency case, whatever cream, and I'll go fix it. Absolutely. Really? You know, I've had customers who've, I know my friends are going to see this, who I'll be hanging out at my house, who have called me because they forgot to order cakes, and we'll be hanging out at my house, and they would come pick me up in the middle of me having a glass of wine or a cigar, bring me to the bakery, I'd make the cakes, and then they take them.
Wow.
Yeah. So but that goes back to my service. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That I offer that I don't say no. Yeah. Because it comes, because, you know, you have to. At the end of the day, you have to, because we are a very big bakery. You know what I mean? In order to be very big, you have to have multiple employees. Employees are not always going to have the best day. They're not always going to make the best product. They're always going to make a mistake. So sometimes giving that great service that I do offer, that, no, that I'm going to give you, that just the answer is always yes, kind of like
Offsets,
cushions it,
gives you the out.
Yeah, it gives me the out. It allows the person to say, you know what? Yeah, okay. If you've done so much for me, this one mess up, I get it. Because it happens. It's inevitable.
Yeah,
I'm not responsible for just myself. The only person who it's me, my brother, my nephew. We're responsible for every single part of the bakery. So whether it's the girls in the retail, whether it's the bakers in the back of the pastry shop, the bakers, the oven guys, the hand roll guys, you know what I mean? Every single mistake. What are you gonna do? Oh yeah, somebody made a mistake on your bread. Hold on, let me put them on the phone.
Yeah.
No, I got to take that call. Yeah. My brother's got to take that call. Dominic's got to take that call. So it's just,
it's not about the mistake itself. It's how you handle.
Exactly.
It,
well,
right?
listen, you always got to handle it the same way. As much as sometimes when people call, you know what I mean? You literally just want to be like, how did you make it this far in life? Like I had a woman like that literally call today, who and I remember this woman. She came in yesterday, and she wanted fresh lobster tails because yesterday was her birthday. I said, absolutely. So I took the fresh lobster tails, and I don't know if you know what a lobster tail is. A lobster tail is a flaky shell on the outside, almost like a sfogliatella, but it has no cheese on the inside. We put the chantilly cream on the inside. So you cannoli, whatever the customer wants. I made her 3 of them. She goes, I called, I wanted these yesterday. You made them fresh for me, but they were very crispy and a little too hard. I said, well, ma'am, you wanted me to make them fresh for you. It's a fresh shell. That's the beauty in the pastry. It's a crispy shell. It's flaky. It's what it's supposed to do. Yeah, it was like a steak. I couldn't even chew it. The fuck? Like, what? I said...
Well, she's so used to a shitty quality lobster tail.
Not a shitty quality lobster tail, but a lobster tail. I said, ma'am, would you have much rather had the one that was sitting in the refrigerator for an hour that has absorbed and gotten a little mushad? Because, that's going to happen. She goes, yeah, those are the ones I like. I like the mushy ones because, I'm older. I'm 88 years old. I said, okay. You know what I mean? I get it. You get it, but then you don't get it. But then you're like, dude, this is what you're calling me? Okay. I said, I'm going to make them now. I literally said this. And I had my guy Rodney was right there, one of my workers. And he's laughing his ass off. I go, ma'am, I'm going to make them right now. I'm going to put them in the refrigerator. You come pick them up tomorrow. I'm going to make you 5. She goes, yeah, they're going to be nice and soft. I said, if they're not soft, I'll put them in the microwave for you. What do you want me to do?
Right.
Well, you know what I mean?
Right.
You can't appease everybody as much as you want. People who are going to walk through the door with a bad day. It's inevitable. They got to find the reason to complain.
Yeah.
There are all those people in this world. They're there. That's when I have to have, when you have people who work for you, you also have to have their back. And my employees know I have their back. There are people who are going to come in there. Like, one thing I don't stand for, and I've had on multiple occasions, people just take it out. Like, are you seriously taking it out on a 15-year-old girl? Or like a 16-year-old girl?
Yeah. How bad is
I'll tell you one time. There was a chef one time. My niece Caroline used to work in the office. I had a chef one time who Caroline's Caroline. She's my hyena. I love her to death. She's my niece. She's the coolest girl. But, she's tough. Cat's tough. You don't want to see her in an alley. She'll kick the shit out of you, no problem. She'll mess you up.
Worse than you?
Absolutely. I walk the other way. You know what I mean?
Field trip.
Absolutely. If I see Caroline walking towards me, I'm walking across the street.
Enough said.
Exactly. So, whatever. She got into a fight with the chef at a restaurant. And the chef called me. And he goes, Walk, I love your product. We do business. You got all 3 of our restaurants. But this little bitch, Caroline. I said, Rodrigo, hold on one second. Let me explain something to you. Before I'm a business owner, before I'm a baker, I'm a family man. I'm an uncle. Don't make me come down there and put your head in the oven. Because it will happen. Oh, wait, why? Who was she? I go, she's my niece. I'm so sorry. Da, da, da. And he hangs up. But it's like, I have 9 of those. Yeah. I have 9 nieces. So when you're going to be in a bad mood, and you're going to come in and you're going to take it out on one of the teenage girls who works for me. You know what I mean? At some point, it's like, you know what? You don't want to have couth? Neither am I. And I don't like to be a petty person, but like, you know, sometimes what's right is like who do you think you are who can get away with shit like that?
Yeah.
Like, that's not right, man.
And
you have a daughter?
Is it
I have a daughter and a son.
You have a daughter? You have a daughter?
Yeah.
2 daughters.
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
right? Enough said.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
And
you know, the good Lord hasn't blessed me with children yet, but when he does, and the day that day happens, I'll smile in the mugshot.
And I guess shame on us, like if we acted like that in some sort of retail establishment, going and like me, I'm like, you know what, this is a kid made a mistake. It could be an adult make a mistake. Mistakes happen. We have employees; they make mistakes.
Exactly, and like it's really that bad.
We make it right. You know?
And how big a mistake was it, really, at the end of the day?
Everybody's got their own problems. Yeah. You know, everybody's got
bigger problems.
Listen, my mother, may she rest in peace, used to tell me something all the time. She said, sit down at a table with a bunch of people. Put all your problems in the center of the table. You'll be the first one to take all your problems back.
That's right.
You think you got shit?
Yeah.
You know?
We got it good.
Yeah.
Augie, what's it like? What has it been like since social media? I see you out there doing videos, and I love it. When you're in the warehouse and you're showing, like it was John, you showing their product. I mean, I think that's so powerful. Like, you like doing that?
I love it.
Yeah.
Anybody who knows it, that's not anybody other than me. You know what I mean? That's natural. That's organic me. Yeah. I am that person. I love having a good time. I love knowing my product. You know what I mean? I love just, you know, I love it. But you know what I love even more? Just being able to really show people, hey, listen, it's much more than just bread. You know what I mean? It's much more than what, you know, the fast forward button you used to see it on TV. Mm-hmm. You know, this is real life. There's no fast forward button in real life. Everything takes time. Everything has a process, you know. We use that word fermentation in the bakery business. It's thrown around, but that's also the most important thing. You know what I'm saying? Without knowing how to handle and gauge fermentation properly, you really will never have a good product, you know. 17 guys can all use the same ingredients in the same mix time, but if you don't know how to add them properly, you don't know how to gauge them properly, you don't know how to allow them to marry together or ferment properly, you're never going to get the same thing. You know, everybody's got a different process of doing things, you know. Some people like to just, you know, what we call the dump method, where you put everything in the bowl, add water, mix it. You know, we do something a little bit differently. We kind of build it, you know. If I told you guys I'd have to kill you, you know the story. Yeah. Sure.
I'm not asking.
The Coca-Cola recipe over here.
Exactly, yeah.
It's safe.
Do you think that showing some of these videos gives an appreciation to customers that didn't have it before?
You know what? Yeah. It really does. Because you know what? I get it all the time. People recognize me everywhere. I really do get. It's funny. It's you know, I get recognized. I always got recognized once they said, "Oh, that's Augie from the bakery." But now it's just like, "Oh wait, I seen you on, you know, TikTok, or I seen you on Instagram, I seen you on Facebook. Is it true about this? Is it true about that?" And I get lost in conversation. And it happens all the time because
make you more approachable.
You don't realize, you know what I mean? But it's just like, you know, my brain just is everywhere when it comes to bread, because it's not just a one-way street. You know, it's so many different directions. There's so many different things. So it's just like, you know, there's 1,000 different thoughts. You ask me one question, I know 27 different ways to answer it. It's impossible because there's so many different variables and an everyday thing. You know, Monday's recipe, is it going to be the same as Tuesday's recipe? Is it going to be the same as Wednesday's recipe? Because we don't live in a bubble. We don't work in a bubble. Everything is different. Some days require more ice. You know, there's so many different variables that people don't even think about, especially when working on a large scale. You know, you're looking at me like, whatever. Prime example, you mix in a ball. A ball has a metal hook and is a metal thing. Metal on metal causes friction. Friction causes heat. Heat is what is inducive to fermentation. The best way to control that is to keep that cold. So when I say we have to add more ice to it, we add more ice. But you have humidity. And when you have humidity, sometimes too much ice forms a little bit of a thing. So what do? We got to put a little, you know, sometimes we put vitamin C. Like I've literally gone to the vitamin shop to put vitamin C or ascorbic acid, not vitamin C. So it's not like, you know, an orange taste. Yeah. It's just a property. You know.
Wow. It's like a mad scientist.
Exactly. You have to be. It's chemistry. It's not just the one-offs, two-offs. It's 700 to 1,000 pounds of dough a time.
Are you working side by side with your, I guess, head bakers? Or?
Shout out to Mark. You're the man.
Okay. Every
Absolutely.
day?
Everybody. We work with everybody. We are on present, on staff, on present, whatever you want to call it. We're there every day, It's an ongoing joke. We micromanage. It's good for us, shitty for the employees. You know what I mean? The cat's never away. So
how many employees do you have collectively?
Collectively, about 55 to 60. Okay. Because everything is on a larger scale and so much machinery now is required. Not required. Well, yeah, I guess required because of the volume. It's less employees because how many people are going to watch paint dry? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's the machines really do a brunt of the work, with the exception of certain breads like all the Napoli bread, because the wetter the dough, it doesn't matter.
It's gotta be
exactly, the machines
more.
aren't going to be able to handle it. But like the heroes, the dinner rolls, catering hall rolls and stuff like that, that's all machine. And then we have like the catering heroes, like like the Super Bowl footers and stuff like that. Yeah. We make all those by hand. So. And
you talk about your nephew and your niece.
Yeah.
So
big family.
They're really will they take over someday?
Absolutely. My nephew is. My nephew's the boss.
Is that right?
Absolutely. My nephew Dominic.
How old is he?
32.
Okay.
Yeah, we're
is your brother older?
Much older. Yes.
Much older.
24 years older.
Okay.
Yeah,
got it.
So,
got it. So he's more like a brother.
Like a father.
No, your nephew.
Oh, my nephew's like my little brother.
Could be like a little brother.
Yeah, no, he is like my little brother. That's why I say he's the coolest dude I know. Yeah, my nephew's the money guy. He runs the office.
Yeah.
We as far as day-to-day operations, that's me and my brother. We're handling all that. If there's any breakdowns and stuff like that, my brother is just whatever. In the store, is me. More of the firefighter, sit there and just wait for problems because it's inevitable. There's always going to be problems. And then, Dominic's the guy who makes sure the lights are always on. He is the office manager. He runs the office. Accounts payable, accounts receivable. To me, he's got the most important job there. Without him, we couldn't do what we do, especially with the confidence that we can do it because you have that backup. We all work well together. Sometimes you always hear like, how does family business because the business is just so big, we don't have a chance to get in each other's way. Yeah, and there's just a cultural respect there where we're all trying to fill the same pot.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If I get mad at something because my brother made a mistake, nobody's going to take it personal. Yeah. If my brother wants to throw a rack at me, which he has, you know what I'm saying? It's not personal. It's because it's for the better of the business.
Right.
You know what I mean? We yell at each other.
Care about the same.
Exactly.
You're
we
all rowing in the same direction.
We're all in a prideful business. We're not just letting it just sit and, go its own way. We all have to control what's going on. This is food we're talking about here. It's not just like paper goods. It's not like just in a warehouse. Oh, whatever. Mess up. Let's recycle. Let's put it back. No, it's it's not like a regular kitchen. You make a sauce too salty. You add some water. You dilute it. No, you make a dough too salty. You ruined it. You gotta throw it out. There's no saving it.
Right.
It's dead. So it's if any of us get mad, we're all getting mad for the right reason. So 20 minutes later, we're having an espresso. Everything is fine. We go through enough coffee in that place to put Starbucks to shame. Yeah. Like they don't know what the hell they're doing. And there's only 3 of us.
So I have an espresso maker literally right on my desk.
Absolutely.
Next to my.
It's the most important thing there.
That's it.
Absolutely.
Always curious. Your nephew, did he go to school to try to do something else?
Yes. Yeah. Idiot. No, I'm joking.
Waste the money.
Yes. No. So my nephew. Listen, I love talking about my nephew. I've always been his number one fan. All my nieces and nephews. No, my nephew should have been soccer star number 1. He had a D1 scholarship ready, and playing a stupid pickup soccer game. He, on a shitty field, because he just when you love soccer, you love soccer, and being in a true Italian household like we are, it's a pickup game is like the World Cup. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, he went into a divot,
tore
ACL snapped, said it was done.
Wow.
But he still went D2. He played in Farmingdale. Excuse me. First he went to Queens College, then he went to Farmingdale. Yeah.
To study?
Soccer and study.
Yeah.
I was 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
That's it.
Did he take business classes?
Yes, he did take business classes. I might have even taken accounting. If not, he just learned it very well. Because he's good.
And was the path, besides for potentially going professional soccer, to be in the family business?
I think so. I mean, listen, I'm sure my brother's, quiet wish always, it's, my brother, us two back to back, you know what I mean? We always had
want to do,
exactly.
But wink, wink,
yeah, wink, wink, come back. I mean, me and my brother, we always had this saying, back to back, nobody's getting in between us. You know what I mean? But then you put my nephew back to back to back with us, we're a little stronger, So it's, I get to work with my nephew and my brother every day. Yeah. I get to, it's the coolest thing ever because at the end of the day, I get to work with my nephew and my brother every day, Now,
your brother's, you said 24 years older than you, is like, he's still, sense of like...
He's not going nowhere. He's not allowed. He's not allowed. We'll fight. We'll fight. He's not allowed to go nowhere.
Is he built like you?
What? No. I'm the only gorilla in the family. My dad would tell people, because my mother had me much later in life, I'm the product of, what's it called? Monkey milk.
Muscle milk?
No, not muscle milk. What's it called? Come on. Formula.
Oh, okay.
Not breast milk.
Yeah.
Gotcha. You know what I mean? I was raised on formula milk, not breast milk. Yeah. So,
That's funny.
Yeah. And ironically enough, I can't even have muscle milk. I'm lactose intolerant. So it's, right? It's a dance with the devil every time I want to eat a cannoli. Trust me, Wednesdays are the best day because we make, everything we make is made in-house. Mm-hmm. So there's nothing bought. Ingredients are bought. That's it. And I'm very, very proud to say that. From the filo dough for the Napoleons to the filo that we make for the shell, for the sfogliatella, the lobster tail, to even, the cannoli shells we make ourselves. We make everything ourselves because that's how it's always been. If there's anything on our shelves, it's made. And, and I like to tell people all the time, the greatest thing ever we had, because we have different shops. We also have a cake shop. It's called Cardinali Creations. And that's where Caroline is, it's, we that's our fun place. Like we do all the wedding cakes out of there, all the bat mitzvah, bar mitzvah, and especially now with birthday cakes where it's all like a big idea. Like,
is that a retail location?
That is a retail location right next door.
Oh, okay.
That's right next door.
It's in Call Place.
Yeah.
That's right.
So what it is it's our specialty store where we make all like the favorite cookies or regular cookies, cake pops, chocolate covered pretzels, candy tables. She does, she'll do pretzels and donut walls. It actually all started with the donut wall. So my 30th birthday, her whole life she's been a baker, but she's made awesome peanut butter Rice Krispie treats and all fun donuts and stuff like that. So I always, you're an uncle, even though I'm only a couple years older than her, I don't want them to spend money. I just want them to do stuff. So I say I want donuts and snacks. Everybody saw that. And, I think just around the time, 8-9 years ago, Instagram was getting big or whatever. Yeah. We put the donut wall on the thing. Everybody was DMing me. I said, just talk to my niece Caroline. And she started a little business like that. And then it kind of was like, it was almost inevitable for it to, not to continue to grow. So then we built a store and then we were able to make, and that's where we make the wedding cakes and stuff like that. And then we just married everything together. So it's not, it's obviously, what I say is, whatever you get in the retail store, as far as the cake is concerned, that's what you're going to get from the cake shop, just decorated nicer because it's a controlled environment. When you're doing these fondant cakes, these 6-7 tier fondant cakes, or these, the long cigar cakes or stuff like that, you can't just do it in a regular facility with ovens and stuff like that where it's hot. It has to be colder because, the natural elements could, ruin it or derail it or deter it from yielding what it is supposed to be. So we have to be able to have a controlled environment, and that's where we make, we've done Jack Daniel's cakes, tequila cakes, we've done cakes for Shaq, Kevin Hart, Sebastian Maniscalco, he's the man. The wedding cakes and all different types of themes. cakes. Excuse me. Yeah, and then what Caroline does is she'll add the favors with that. So the donuts and the pretzels, the cake pops, the Rice Krispie treats, muffins, cupcakes, pretzels, like soft pretzels, churros, the shooters, which are very popular. Those dark cakes, which were like popular like 7-8 years ago, and then all of a sudden it came out of nowhere. You know, I did it for the Knicks thing. You know what I mean? And it was great. I said, Kat, I said, listen, I said, just do these flavors, but give me the Knicks colors, because I wanted to do everything after the players of the Knicks. So I was like, you know, we did Dulce de Leche for Kat, because he's Dominican. You know, Josh Hart. Yeah. I said Red Velvet. You know what I mean? For Mitch Robinson, cookies and cream. So we did that with just a bunch of sprinkles, and people were going nuts over it. Yeah. So it's that's what's great over there. That's another thing when working with family. It's almost like, because everybody's going after the same pot and filling the same pot, we're able to take the imagination and really put it into the showcase. Yeah. You know, and especially because now, you know, we have such a great reputation where the curiosity is able to, from a customer standpoint, is almost like, oh, well, it's from Cardinali. It's going to be good. Yeah. You know, and I could say that comfortably. I could say that very confidently as well. I know that's how the consumer is going to think. That, oh, wow, it's coming from the Mauro family. It's going to be good. You know? Because we're not going to put out a shit anything. We haven't done it in 30 years. We're not going to start now.
Your name's on it, and you know when you have to answer to yourself, there's nobody greater.
Exactly. Yeah, my name is on it. You know,
right?
And my reputation's on it.
That being said, how involved are you guys in regards to giving back in the community, charity?
Every day. As far as philanthropy is concerned, you know, we get that from our parents. Always let us know that, you know, obviously there's a higher power that give us the opportunity to be able to give back, you know? And, you know, richness comes from healthiness, you know? We're rich because we're all healthy. We're all able to fight each other in a verbal standpoint to give out a good product. You know, the good Lord allows us to do that. So why not give back, you know? Because karma's a motherfucker. So that comes around full circle. So, you know, he sees that, you know, and we're able to do that. Like, you know, people come to us all the time, whether it's donations for schools or donations for different charities or, you know, older people, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, the sunflower, it's like another form of Girl Scout. They're all the time. Yeah. You know, even the Nassau County PBA, Suffolk County PBA, all different high schools. Tomorrow I have a civic association fundraiser for 9/11 that we do. And, you know, always giving back. You know, even my brother said it today. He goes, there are certain times you got to be okay with losing $500, you know? Even if you are, you know, collecting that ticket price to try to, it doesn't matter. Don't cut a corner and be afraid to lose $500. Yeah. You got to do it because we're in the process of doing it. And we can't think like this all the time because if you do, you'll go broke. But sometimes it's like, you know, is that $100 that I'm going to lose really going to affect me?
Right.
Or is it going to help somebody who's in need? You know, and like I said, you can't think like that all the time because $100 adds up fast.
It's business.
It is business. Yeah. But essentially, sometimes, you know, you can have couth in business. Mm-hmm. You know, you can have personality. You can have character as a man. You know, because that sometimes goes a lot farther. You know, being able to help the right person. And it's happened multiple times. You help the right person with a flat tire, their son or daughter could own something. You know? That's how I got into the William Vale Hotel in Brooklyn. One of the biggest hotel. Yeah. For doing the right thing. And from doing the right thing, I was put in front of the right people. And by being put in front of the right people, I was able to offer my product. And because of that, I have them now. And they're, you know what I mean? This is a hotel that, like, I think Google rented out for 4 days every year, the whole hotel. Yeah. They have the biggest pools. They have like 4 pool top things, you know.
You never know who's paying.
It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. It's a stupid saying, but it's the truth. Yeah. It literally costs nothing to do the right thing because sometimes the reward is really just worth more.
Far greater.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, even the sense of feeling good is more powerful.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Walking down the street telling somebody, that's a cool shirt, you're going to feel good after they feel good. But, you know, saying something to that same person the wrong way, that'll stay with you forever.
Augie, how do you shut it off? Obviously, this is a massive operation.
Don't shut anything off.
No downtime.
No downtime. Absolutely
no
not.
vacation.
Where do you go out to dinner? What do you like to where do you like to go?
Mauro Ristorante, the best. No, yeah. So that's our restaurant too. We opened up a restaurant next to the bakery. But believe it or not, I go to a lot of my customers.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, like I will go to Johnny's and get that E equals MC squared burger, the Einstein burger with the short rib. I know you're gonna call me when you see this and tell me I'm an asshole. I'll even go there sometimes, and when his father says Big John, we'll pop back sliders. You know what I mean? And they're good. The guy you had on here, Chubbs.
Yeah.
You know, his burgers, believe it or not, the Zeus burgers are the best thing you'll ever have.
Yeah.
He makes like these 3 types of filled burgers. One has like tallow in it, beef tallow. A Johnny Boy, I think it's called. The Zeus. We just had it for Father's Day. It's unbelievable. I go to Novita a lot, the Italian nachos.
Yeah.
Zuzu, he's good. Croxley's. Ocean Code, it's a sushi spot.
Where's that?
That's it's the best. Never heard of Ocean Code, bro?
No.
Forget about it. It's in Carl Place on Westbury. Old Country Road. Old Country Road. You know where Red Lobster is over there?
Yeah.
Passione used to be over there. Now the other Fogo de Chao. It's over there. It's called Ocean Code. I'm there at least once a week.
In that shopping center. Gotcha.
It's a small place. It's a ham roll sushi bar. It's the freshest sushi ever.
Check it out.
No, I'm telling. If you guys are sushi guys, go. You're gonna be so happy you went.
We always say like that parking lot is like it's
Yeah.
tough to get to.
It is tough to get to, and you never know what's going to be in there, especially because like there are some places that I've been to over there where it was just horrible. But I go there just strictly for that place.
Yeah.
And like the owner there is awesome. Like sometimes I'll go there like after work at like 8:45, 9 o'clock, and like when you guys go in there, like all he serves is beer and sake. And boss, hoping to get you in trouble, but like if you see the bottles of tequila, those are the ones I bought.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We'll take a couple shots of tequila over there. Yeah, no, like I said, he comes to the bakery and he buys pastries. You know, sometimes when I see him, I obviously won't charge him.
It feels good. Like we say it all the time. The hardest part of going and patronizing some of our clients is like their innate like wanting to like not charge us, which I hate.
Right.
Because it's like, I'm coming here because I like the food. Like, I'm not coming here for a free meal. And sometimes that's like the hardest part with patronizing some of your
I can
clients.
tell you on multiple occasions where literally I've sat down and I see the owner and he gives like that smile, like that eyebrow smile. I'll even tell my girl, I'm like, babe, just order everything you want now. And I'll pay right away.
Yeah.
Just take this credit card.
Yep.
That way, if he's got to buy, I'll feel better knowing like, okay, if he's got to buy me a drink, he'll buy me a drink, but I don't want him comping the meal.
I know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I get it. I completely understand what you're saying because it happens all the time. Because, you know, a lot of those times, you know, the people comes in there.
They want it that because they appreciate
the
service, but like for us.
Right.
I mean,
it feels good. And yes, and sometimes, you know, if it happens, it happens, but I don't go out looking for it. I truly don't. It's because, I mean, you know, we're both in business for a reason. And I get we both probably have the same mindset. Well, you know, they're looking at me, well, that $200 isn't going to make or break me. You know what I mean? But it's also like, you know, you're buying $200 a break. You know?
Yep.
Louis of Port Washington's really good.
Louis, yeah.
Chef Greg's got it going on over there.
How's technology kind of helped your business? I mean, I think from either obviously retail is one thing, but wholesale, because I've always kind of questioned, you know, how do these places know how much the bread to order each week or each day to where they're not having leftover that essentially goes bad after a day or so because it's so fresh? So
it all works together, right? Every good also has a bad. You know, technology, because everything is a right now response and right now message, kind of hurts sometimes because, you know, my phone will ring at 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night with somebody wanting to cancel bread or whatever, which I have to, you know, follow through with that. But that's maybe one or two of the cons. The pros are, well, you can't get into the restaurant business if you don't understand your PARs. And what PARs basically mean is what you're expecting yourself to use on a 7-day basis. You know, obviously your Monday through Thursday par isn't going to be like your Friday, Saturday, Sunday par, meaning your standard order. is going to be more on the weekend than it is on the weekday. You know, I only ask, hey, listen, whatever you think it's going to be, even if you cut it down by 1 or 2, I just need that so I can put everything into my production list and allow myself to be more efficient. Because with my business, efficiency is based on time because we're fighting against the clock. Because don't forget, the bread guy's got to be the first guy in there. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm there every day. You can order meat on Monday and have it till Thursday, but you got to order bread Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You know what I'm saying? You can order your bags and your boxes once a month. There's no time, there's no expiration on that. You know, the fruit, the vegetables, that's going to give you 2-3 days. So you can always overlap. You know, there's places like Restaurant Depot that if you do have emergencies, you can go out and get vegetables and stuff like that because you see yourself running low. When it comes to bread, like you got to really catch it because it's not like I have a stock in shelves where the bread is not. Like you got to tell me what you need, and then I got to say, okay, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, because if I don't have it in the retarder fermenting or holding, I actually have to make it, and it's not something you could just rush.
Sure.
Because it's not going to come out the right way.
It needs a little time.
You know, so
You're
that's
not
why
making that much extra just to make it.
Exactly, especially
it's
now.
money. Yeah.
So that's why I need those pars from everybody, and then with that, you know, they tell us we either need more or we need less, and it's good. Because if you need more and I have to make more, well, okay, fine, you'll get a second delivery, but I can get you started, you know? And we've done that with plenty of places, and no customer's ever going to get mad knowing more bread is coming later, fresher, you know? Because we're not rushing a product. This is the food industry. So you when you're in it and you know about it. It's not like you're taking somebody from the outside looking in saying, wait, why is he getting 2 deliveries, this and the other thing? No, this is the guy who's on the inside looking at, oh, okay, I get it. Yeah, he's not going to rush the product. You know what I mean? Okay, I'm going to get my first delivery at 6 a.m. I'll get it by 12. I'll get through lunch service. I'll have the backup come at dinner service. You know what I mean? That's how the chefs, you know, do. And it's great. And honestly, sometimes I joke, but it works out good for me because if I'm the one making that delivery and the chef says, you want something to eat? You want a steak? You want this? Yeah, sure. Why not? You know, it all works hand in hand because they appreciate it. You know, those chefs, they know that second delivery, what's happening.
What you went through to get it there.
Exactly. But not only that, not only what I went through, it's what I'm doing for you. Yeah. You're anticipating yourself to be busier. That means you're having new mouths to feed. Your new mouths to feed now are going to get fresher, better product, not a rushed product that's going to be bland.
Right.
You know, because just like anything, if it doesn't sit, that flavor profile isn't going to be what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So for me, bringing you that second delivery, like I said, the guy who was on the inside,
this bread's going to taste better now than it is in 4 hours.
You know, it's just how it is. So it all works together. It's always going to work together. When you're in it and everybody's in it together, they understand why things are happening. If I make a decision, it's because, and I say this all the time, if I make a decision for you, it's because I know we're partners. I'm giving you the better product. If I'm bringing you a second delivery, it's because I know you have enough to get through lunch. You know, if you order, let's just say 30 loaves of bread and you need another 20, you need that other 20 for dinner. You're going to get through lunch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They appreciate that. Customers will always appreciate that because, like I said, they're in it. They understand why I made that decision. If I'm making a decision for them, it's not because I'm doing it maliciously. You know what I'm doing? I'm doing it purposely.
Because we've all sat at a restaurant and said, "Oh, do you have bread?" And they're like, "Oh, we're out. We're out." Right? Like that could alter the whole experience of that dinner.
Absolutely.
Right there. It's like one of the first impressions. So
yeah, man, bread is the key to life, right?
That's it.
You know, I say it all the time. You know, we have a restaurant and. You know, it's open about just about a year now, and it's a true red sauce Italian restaurant, and it's not something we made where it's our source of income. It's more of something else we made just to put it on the same level of everything else. And you know, I say all the time, number one rule: nobody leaves hungry. You know what I mean? Big portions, fair pricing. But number 2, no sauce goes to waste. You know, I teach everybody about the scarpette. I don't know if you guys know what the scarpette is, but the scarpette is you take the bread, You do a little dunk. How you doing? Yeah, it's the most important part. It's the most important. You cannot let sauce go. Don't let no spoon. You got to do the scarpette with the bread. Get the wrist in there. You know, and people love it. You have a good time. You're eating. You're out, right?
Yep.
You know you got to pay for a meal. You got to eat. I know you worked hard for it. Have a good laugh.
This is going to be some field trip.
Absolutely. Come on down. No, listen.
Go right here. You get down
Walk
the
in,
line.
roll out.
It's like a pub crawl.
Yeah, right. We'll start at the restaurant. We'll go to the bakery. We'll go to the cake shop. There's a liquor store.
Nice.
You know.
There you go.
Augie,
Perfect.
where do you see the brands in 5 years, 10 years from now?
That's funny you guys say that. So I had this conversation with my brother today. So I actually have a couple meetings coming up with some food service companies that are on a much larger scale, you know. And to me, that's what I want to do. I want to continue in wholesaling. Wholesaling is my favorite thing to do, is because it's just that large volume to suffice. I mean, listen, retail is great and stuff like that, but everything has its reasoning. You know what I mean? And, you know, there's pros and cons to retail, and there's pros and cons to wholesale. And just to me, based on experience alone and doing this for as long as I've been doing it, and because I'm going to be doing it for a lot longer, I know where I want to allocate my time. Because, you know, as you get older, you don't want to stretch yourself so thin. Mm-hmm. But if you can allocate your time into one avenue and make that avenue smooth and efficient, you know what I mean? I think it speaks for itself.
Is the wholesale, that's the relationships, right?
Not only is it the relationship, but it's the volume.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's the volume. Plus it's one less moving part than retail.
Yeah. I mean,
2 less moving parts than retail. 3 less. You can literally, like I said, the pros and cons, it's less moving parts because it's very cyclic. It's you know what you're doing on a daily basis. Yeah. Everything is the same on a daily basis. Right. The only thing that changes is volume. You know, as far as wholesaling is concerned.
A single household can only come in and buy cake and pastries and bread so many times.
Right. Yeah. But a restaurant has to be open.
But a restaurant has to be open.
I feel like the retail still has an important place because it's like the voice.
Yeah.
Oh,
right,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, absolutely.
You'll find out a lot faster of like what's going well, what's not, right? Where wholesale, you lose a little of that, I think, for
like I said,
to a degree.
It's yes and no, because it all depends also on the scale that you are.
Yeah.
You know, the scale that we are on wholesaling is big. Yeah. You know, and it's I would love for me and my family to allocate just to that, because if we could do just that, who's not to say that I'm not going to be in a supermarket in 5 years in the frozen section? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because that's something I can do. I do have that ability to, and the know-how to do that. Just not the time.
Sure. Because
of where I'm allocating my own time. If you could give
if I was 2 people, if you could give the end user the ability to buy your product while they're at the supermarket instead of needing to make another stop.
Exactly.
You kill 2 birds with one
stone.
stone.
Well, not only that, but if I could strike a deal with like a Stop and Shop or an Uncle Giuseppe's to be in their frozen section where the name itself is already known. You know what I mean? Even if I put it in the box, you know, found in your popular New York restaurants and pizzerias, the same bread. Listen, you guys you know marketing. Yeah. If you know how to market, you market the right thing. You put colors on a box. You know, you get a white box with some Italian flag colors. It's got to catch your eye. You know, that's the name of the game. That's inevitable. Yeah. You know, it's people are going to buy with their eyes first. You know, I say it all the time. You buy everything I make looks good. You're going to buy with your eyes first. You're coming back with seconds because of your stomach. Nobody's going to come back for seconds because it looks good. Because you know what? Even if it's handmade bread. So sometimes if it's a little cockeyed, doesn't matter. It tastes good.
Sure.
That's why they're coming back.
Artisanal.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. That's what's coming back. That's the beauty. That's the art. So being able to do that is going to be great. Because, you know, it's you know, think about it in volumes. You know, you get into one of these groups that have 7 or 8 hospitals on Long Island and they need 200,000 pieces of bread a week. You could just do the math, even if it's a penny of bread.
Yeah.
And it's not.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, you know, quick math.
Adds up.
You know, pennies make dollars.
Yeah.
So, cents makes dollars. If it's going to make sense, it's going to make sense. And what happens when you add less moving parts? You know, if you have adults and men and women who have responsibilities and families and who want to work. That's how you make money. But if you're reliant sometimes on teenagers and stuff like that in a retail store, you know how many times I've been behind the counter? You know, my girlfriend makes fun of me all the time. She goes, "Babe, you a counter bitch today?" Sometimes. Sometimes. It is what it is.
We're delivery guys sometimes, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, listen, 2 years ago, I went through a windshield because I had to deliver bread. It was 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm delivering bread. A girl rear-ended me in one of my box trucks. And instead of hitting, it was 420 too, because, you know. And so instead of hitting the brake, she hit the gas and she drove me to a median.
Wow.
And I went right through the windshield.
Wow.
Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah.
I was out for months. You know, I was in the hospital for a week. The only cool thing is, you know, the group of doctors told my brother, if you didn't have all this muscle, you'd be dead. It's kind of like a backhanded compliment, but you know, it is what it is. It happens.
I didn't comment.
You know? Hey, listen, I've lived it. I've done it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm as optimistic as they are. You know, even if there's a drop of water in my glass, there's still water in my glass.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? I don't, like I said, it all goes by, you know, my cultural raising.
Yeah.
You know, and I have all that to my ethic, my optimism, everything is, you know, and to me, culture is the most important thing. You know what I'm saying? Because you either are given an ethic, whether it's work ethic or family ethic or business or whatever the case may be, or you're not. You know? Everybody has to owe something to somebody, you know, for who they are. You know what I mean? Exactly. I know it's my parents. I know it's my brother. Listen, I look up to my brother more than anybody. Yeah. You know what I mean?
He's a father figure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'll put my head through cinder blocks for my brother. Yeah. I wouldn't even think twice.
Shields.
Yeah, 100%. Did that too. Did that too.
Check.
Cinder block
next. Yeah, cinder blocks next.
Make sure I'm wearing a helmet.
Absolutely. Robbie boy, all right?
Augie, awesome story.
Oh, yeah.
Continued success to you, your family. We appreciate your enthusiasm, your passion. Your bread is outrageous. Can't wait to have more afterwards.
Yeah, man, come on down, brother.
Thank you for coming on. This was fun, and really, you gave some good insight to your industry, and you guys are killing it, and really keep doing so. So thank you. We appreciate it.
That. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
thank you very much, brother.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.